The things I was speaking on, I thought were kind of common sense things of just like treating people well and loving each other.
Exactly.
Speaking up against racial injustice, and I got really attacked for those things. And it started triggering a lot of traumas from my past that I didn't know I hadn't dealt with.
Right.
So I kind of went to one of the darker places that I've been in my journey.
9 businesses you've started, different things. I'm struggling with 3. You have 2 kids. You're married. What is the adrenaline rush that entrepreneurship? Because I've talked to so many entrepreneurs that like they can't do one thing.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't get it. Yeah. Honestly, it works well with business, but if I'm being real, it doesn't work well with certain other things that are around the peripheral. Like being an entrepreneur who likes to do a lot of unique, fun things.
Right.
I thought everyone was like me, but it come to find out it's the opposite. Like we are a rare breed. We just hang out with each other.
Right.
So we think everyone's like us. And, you know, being married to someone who wants stability, doesn't want a lot of change, that kind of stuff. I'd be lying if I said it hasn't affected my marriage a little bit. My wife really supports me more than anyone has ever supported me besides maybe my parents. But she's on the ride with me in this, and that is really tough. So I think, I've been saying this for a while, that I think to a certain extent, entrepreneurship is a mental illness. Because if you take the things that we have, insomnia, not being able to sleep, weight loss or weight gain, some crazy manic highs, depressive lows, all those kinds of things, and you give that to a psychiatrist, they're gonna say you have ADHD, you're bipolar, you're this, you're that. You know what I'm saying?
I am unstoppable. I am unstoppable. I am unstoppable.
All right, so today we are in the plaza in KC. We're at Yogurtini. We're pulling up to see the owner to give us some of his tidbits, his history of Yogurtini, and kind of get some yogurt, because I'm really excited for that. So let's go in and meet Isaac. What's up, Ross? How you doing?
Oh, man.
Good to see you, man. Where we at right now?
Oh, we're at Yogurtini Plaza right now.
Man, it's what, 4 years in the making or so. The first time I came in was in 2016, which was like a year when you guys actually started, right?
Yep, that was a year after I bought it and then met you, or you popped up in the video.
I popped on the video, I was just in the background. So it's been 9 years in the making, 2015. So I wish I could find that video. Maybe I can. I have to go back into my Facebook, deep Facebook. I was just in the background trying to grab some Yogurtini, but I was so excited. I was like, Yogurtini is so cool, but I want to get some Yogurtini today.
Yeah.
So, tell me what you got.
I also think that I have that video, so hopefully we can find that. I hope you can find it.
I want people to see it.
Absolutely.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been, in that video, I think it was 2016, so we were only a year into it. Still really didn't know much of what I was doing, but to this day, it's been about 9.5 years.
What are your favorite flavors to get?
So I always start with what the store's favorite is. Cake batter is our #1 most popular. Actually, the good thing right now is it's paired with pumpkin pie. So cake batter general is our most popular. Pumpkin pie right now is going to be, obviously, because the seasonal one. My favorite is anything caramel related. I don't know if we have that one. That's above my pay grade to do two flavors at this point. Let's see here.
This is so much choice, guys. So many choice. This is the experience.
Yeah, we got eight machines, 3 flavors each, so 24 total. Yeah, so a lot of these flavors we make our own. So this one's actually our sugar doodle. This one's brand new. I'm gonna nerd out for a second. So this is our white vanilla. We mix it with a whole thing of sugar cookies. We blend it up. A little bit of vanilla extract, and then we put a little bit of cinnamon in it to give it that snickerdoodle, sugar doodle taste.
So tell me this, like, is there a lot of chemistry that has to go into this? Like, what is the process of making a flavor and then making it become the best flavor, testing it out and making sure that people like it? How do you go through that process?
Yeah, so actually it depends on the flavor. Some of them are really easy to make and some of them take a little bit of time. So about once a month, I'll get together with all my managers at our Shore Creek location. We'll order just a myriad of different flavorings in and all the different things. And we will take 3 machines down, turn them around and just test. And some of them are just home runs right away. This pumpkin was a home run right off the bat. And then some other ones take some testing. So some of them we try are absolutely terrible. And we just keep critiquing. Okay, less of this, more of this. Let's fancy this up. Let's spice it up. Let's bring that one down.
So with that, I'm almost imagining you in a lab coat, just testing things out with the test tubes.
Yep. It takes some time. Food science is incredibly important to exactly what you put in there.
Yes. Look at that.
Yeah, the weird thing is like some things pair really well together. Where you taste it, it almost feels like they're swirling in your mouth at the same time. And then you also have some that you can taste them separate. So like you can taste this flavor, then you hit this flavor, and there's some that repel each other. So when you taste it, it just feels off in your mouth. That's not what you want. Yep.
Dang, I always come for this, but I didn't know the whole science behind it. And I think it's also cool that you have some fruits in here.
Yep. We have several fresh fruit. This location has the most. We have the blueberries and the strawberries and the cherries and the kiwi. We cut these fresh daily. This is something new that we started doing. If you look down the topping bar, you're going to see some that are cupped. And the ones that are cupped are potential allergens. Right. So we discovered during the pandemic when we had to cup everything and we're coming back off that. Some people liked the allergen ones being cupped to minimize cross-contamination. And at that point, we were doing this for like 7 years. We're like, why didn't we think of that?
Why didn't we think of that before now?
So obvious, but so we kept up.
All right, so we got the chocolate chip?
Chocolate chip edible cookie dough. This is a new addition. Unlike our regular cookie dough bites, these are, the flour is heat treated.
Okay.
This is actually egg free. So you can see that these actually don't have to be refrigerated. So they're really, really good, really dense, really flavorful. These have been popular.
Wow. No, this is so many choices here. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, we got the gummies, got the candy bars. This location has the most toppings by far. This one, we're right shy of 100 different toppings.
Wow. Oh yeah, I gotta get one of those. I like me some. Where are the pecans?
Oh, right, 3 over. Right there. Yep.
Yeah, I like me some, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
I think I may rock with the toppings today.
I like a little bit of everything.
A little suicide of froyo. A lot of different ones there. Oh, this is the seasonal mix. Gotta hype up the vanilla bean gelato, the pumpkin spice, and then the sugar doodle.
I don't know what mine is called, but it's some.
That's a suicide. You got everything in there. The old school back in the day, you go to the skating rink, get the sodas and get every single soda. That's what that is.
Well, I just mix it up. I never know what goes with what.
Who really wanted with me? I'm at the top, that's 1, not 2 or 3. This real life, baby, don't make believe. I just make it look easy like ABC. I'm only 24/7.
Hey, what's up, good people? Welcome back to the Rush to the Entrepreneur episode. I am your host, Zeke Wangaga, and I am the favorite storyteller in the city. It's my show. I can say whatever I want. I know you know on this show, we're bringing entrepreneurs, investors, ecosystem builders to learn their journeys of scaling their company from 0 to 100 so you can learn the same and hopefully be inspired to do the same. And like I said on this show, there's no BS. We go straight to the point. We bring real people with real stories so you can learn and be inspired. Now, before I go into the show, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor at Casey Sourceling. If you're a founder, you're an investor, you are a new business in the city, you want resources, when it comes to scaling, investing, funding, whatever you need, go to Casey Sourceling and get the info. All right, for today's show, I'm always excited for my guests, and today I'm even more excited because the person I have here with me today is a longtime friend of mine who is also an entrepreneur, a business coach, a speaker, and today we're gonna dive into different things. So one, we're gonna dive into business. So he has a franchise business. He has multiple locations, 3 right now, going to 4, going to 5, going to 6. So we're gonna talk about all that. We're gonna talk about family. We're gonna talk about a little bit of religion, a little bit about politics. We're going to bring it all together because I believe that in the society we're in today, all these things play a role, especially if you're a leader. So join me. Let's get to it. Help me make welcome the one and only, the founder of Yogurtini KC, Isaac Collins.
Man.
Sir.
Hey, you're getting really good at this thing.
I'm trying.
You're really good at this.
I'm trying.
Yo, Wayne Take Drake. When we did this back in 2020, you were good.
Shoot, but
you were good.
A lot of tries.
There were a few tries. I was one try and just nailed it. So.
See, my team would say, so this is the 18th episode, right? So I have had progressions of, I've had progressions of just like learning how to breathe. I think the biggest one for me too is, so I was at Pure Pitch Rally. So one of the pitching coach told me to Zeke, your biggest problem is you don't breathe. And if I could figure that out and breathe more often as I should, I could do better. I can do anything I want to do in life.
Absolutely.
But anyways,
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
It's been, what now, maybe 4 years?
It's been 4 years. I think we did 2 or 3 episodes in 2020.
Back to back to back?
Back to back to back. Pandemic, all the stuff, racial injustice, and you got busy, I got busy. Yes. We've hyped each other up. 2 kids? 2 kids.
Ooh-wee.
Crazy. Life's been happening, man. Life's been happening. No, you've been growing, you too. You have a lot going on.
I've been trying. I'm trying to be like you. You know, like I said, ever since I went to Yogurtini the first time, I'm like, yo, I know the owner of Yogurtini. I can do anything that I want to do. What you talking about? But for those who don't know, we are. I said, give them just a little bit about your kind of your background, how you got to business, but where you're from, because I know there's a lot of stories behind even starting Yogurtini. Give them a little bit of background in that.
Sure. Yeah, I'll make it short. So. I like to say Kansas City born and somewhat raised here in the metro. When I was pretty young, my family and I, we moved to St. Joe to escape the, I like to say, extracurricular illegal activities my parents were unfortunately involved in at the time. We went back and forth a lot, St. Joe, Kansas City, visiting family, visiting friends back here. But when I got into grade school, we ended up just staying mainly in St. That was the best for us at the time. Right. Ended up staying in St. Joe all the way through high school, and then went to Missouri Western.
Oh, wow.
So, which is also in St. Joe. Got a business degree, double major, management and marketing, which makes sense what I'm doing now. Right. And I knew I always wanted to be a business owner, but didn't think it was going to happen until later in life. Right. I'd have to, work, save up money, and then buy a business when I was like 40 or 50.
Right.
The second year I was at Missouri Western, they ended up starting an entrepreneurial program that was helping graduating seniors get into business. And so since I was a sophomore, I had several years to watch this program, see if it was going to fail, see if it was going to succeed. And then when I became a senior, I had 3 years of data to show, hey, there's actually real graduating seniors that got into business, successful, making a living, this program's supporting them, this is dope. Wow. So my senior year, I went into that program, ended up winning, was awarded a store. The whole program was a capstone course where you're writing a business plan as if you're a Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory franchise owner. And if you won, you got a business, was funded by the program. So I did that, I won, moved up to Williamsburg, Iowa, did that for 4 years, had no clue what I was doing, worked a lot of hours, slept in the back of the store sometimes, the normal grind that business owners do when they first start.
Right.
It worked. We were profitable. We paid the store off in 1.5 years. And so then I had about 2.5 years of building up profits. And after being in rural Iowa for that amount of time, I was ready to be around not just people who look like me, but just a melting pot of humans, not just all white. So talked to corporate, because I'm in a franchise, said, do you have any opportunities back home in Kansas City? They said nothing in chocolate, but we do have this little yogurt store that's for sale within our company. And they said, are you interested? I said, absolutely, anything to get back home. And that ended up being my first Yogurtini location on the plaza, and to kind of bury the lead on all the other stuff. That was 2015 to now. I've had the pleasure of owning 9 businesses, from nonprofit to frozen yogurt to online supplements, had my own startup, construction, real estate investing, just throwing stuff against the wall, seeing what stick. Some of it stuck, mainly Yogurtini. Wow. And some of the other stuff didn't, but I tried, failed a lot, and luckily enough to fail forward.
Yeah, no, so I want to ask you this, because I know for me, when I was in college, right, there are things I used to say that haunted me now that I'm like, I don't know why I said that. Yeah. Example, I used to tell people, I'm like, hey, I don't ever want to get employed. I want to have my own business. I didn't know what I was saying. I was like, I don't want to be employed. I don't feel like I want to do that. But then fast forward, I'm an entrepreneur. Yeah. Which is a good thing, but also like, golly, it's hard to work.
It's hard.
Are there some things you remember saying like, hey, I want to do this, but facing the reality of it wasn't as sweet as it sounded when you said it?
Yeah, I think, honestly, mine's pretty similar to yours. Like, I grew up only child. My parents raised me to be very independent, which made it so I didn't really like anyone telling me what to do.
Right.
I loved being an athlete. I was an athlete from 3 to 23, but that was a different thing, like a coach versus like a boss or a manager kind of dictating you. Coach has your best interest at heart, training you up, coaching you so you can be your best self. When I got into the workforce, I didn't see that with my bosses. They were very, very like, to put it nicely, micromanaging.
Right.
And almost like stopping my growth in that way. And so I did the same thing, where it's like, I don't want this and I don't want to work for people like this. How can I change this? And it was become the top of the food chain, be the business owner and all that kind of stuff. I'll make my own schedule, I'll pour into people, I'll take vacations, the whole thing, which, as you know, that's a joke in the beginning, at least, because there's really no vacations for a while.
Which is, yeah, my wife doesn't like that, but that's just the truth. Doesn't like that. I tried so hard, but there's really no vacation.
Yeah.
Really not. I tried, but it's like, there's still people calling him on the phone. We got to do this and do that.
Yep.
So I think I like the fact that you had a plan in a way that you had 4 years of you being able to learn how to do this thing, right? For you, what were the things you learned or principles you learned that helped you be able to scale from one location to the like? What were the things you learned that helped you step in and be in a place where you can be able to run this successfully?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think for me it was a cheat code a little bit because a lot of my friends didn't have the prior training and business knowledge. They took the leap. They're very brave in that way of just like having the idea and just getting into it. And I knew I would eventually want to, but I wanted the degree behind it. So I had 2 years of really focusing on business in high school. I had 4 or 5 years of business studies in college. My grandparents were entrepreneurial as well, and so they built a lot of that autonomy in us with the classic like lemonade stand. We had licorice in the cabinet, so we sold licorice, and we'd go up and down, like we did that whole thing, which was really nice to like learn in that regard. And so that really helped me be able to understand how that whole thing was going to work. Like if I was going to like learn and be able to do the thing. I would say that college also, or the other thing that really helped was sports. So with being able to be an athlete, I got a chance to watch my coaches teach and coach these different position groups and whatnot. And it wasn't all about them micromanaging a position group, because you got to train that person and then you send them on the field or the court to do the thing. I mean, once they're on that field and court, it's up to them.
It's up to them.
So I think that helped me be able to see that. And then sometimes be lucky in my career to be a captain and have to kind of like lead other parts of the field that I wasn't doing, because I was the point guard, but I wasn't the center, I wasn't the forward, or I was the corner, but I wasn't the safety, I wasn't the lineman. So that kind of helps being able to stretch my tentacles out past myself to be able to help other people succeed.
Dang, having a business in the plaza, Yogurtini, I think I want to come to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
There's something you said, 9 businesses you've started, different things. I'm struggling with 3. You have 2 kids. You're married. What is the adrenaline rush that entrepreneurship, because I've talked to so many entrepreneurs that like they can't do one thing.
Yeah.
What is it with that? Like walk me through that.
I don't know. I'm honestly, I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't get it. Honestly, it works well with business, but if I'm being real, it doesn't work well with certain other things that are around the peripheral. Like being an entrepreneur who likes to do a lot of unique, fun things. I thought everyone was like me, but it come to find out it's the opposite. Like we are a rare breed. We just hang out with each other. So we think everyone's like us. And, you know, being married to someone who wants stability, doesn't want a lot of change, that kind of stuff. I'd be lying if I said it hasn't affected my marriage a little bit. My wife really supports me more than anyone has ever supported me, besides maybe my parents. But she's on the ride with me in this, and that is really tough. So I think, I do think, I've been saying this for a while, that I think to a certain extent, entrepreneurship is a mental illness. Because if you take the things that we have, insomnia, not being able to sleep, weight loss or weight gain, some crazy manic highs, depressive lows, all those kinds of things, and you give that to a psychiatrist, they're going to say you have ADHD, you're bipolar, you're this, you're that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like in the beginning, I said it joking, but like it's real. And I think it's tough. And I think bottled in the right way with the right amount of like exercise, meditation, sleep, therapy, community around you, you can harness that to end up being a good business owner who is mentally stable, who's impactful in the community, who loves on their employees and their customers in that regard. But man, in the beginning, when you're doing it all, I think it's super tough.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think speaking to the family part, right? My wife also is best supporter I have, right? Mm-hmm. Because of all the chaos things that we do, we have to come home with someone and be able to, hey, calm down.
Yeah.
You got this. Because what people don't see is that the leader you see out there who is confident has the night where like, I don't think I can do this thing.
Yep.
I'm going crazy. It's not going to work out.
Yep.
There's always someone who says, oh, you got this. You've done 5 things. That means this can happen, right? But it's, for me, I've had those conversations with my wife like, hey, this is just what it is right now. I can get to a point where I think the biggest thing for me too is I've tried so many times to be like, hey, I want to step closer to doing things, but I think I fall back. I always fall back to be an entrepreneur, like, right? I always fall back to doing 10,000 things. Yesterday, she literally woke up to me in the living room. I was watching the Chiefs game. I was watching another game on my iPad, and I was working on my laptop. So there was 3 screens at the same time. I was eating at the same time. She's like, what is going on here? And I also had my iPhone. It's like 4 screens at the same time. I can't just do one.
But isn't that happiness though? Like if your brain is wired like that, I love to be stimulated like that. And I bet in that moment you were like, this is what I like.
Yes.
Like it is sometimes tough to just focus on one thing. To be very stimulated, sometimes to certain brains is normal. That is what our brain likes. That is what we like.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I used to feel so guilty about that. Like I can't focus on one thing. I have to do all these things at the same time. And I think my journey kind of changed when I leaned into the fact that this is just who I am.
That's right.
This is who I am. This is how I am. This is how I work. I'm highly effective in this way. If I do this too long, it does lead to those lows that we talked about. Exactly. But if we can manage that, I'm very okay with that.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Let's go to the Yogurtini at the Plaza, right? So you started Yogurtini 2015?
Yep.
I went to Yogurtini, I think 2016, and I still have, I don't think I have that video, but it was like way back when. But I think it was so cool to meet you and be like, yo, you own Yogurtini? That is such a cool product, right? How did you create such a business that didn't have your face in front of it and it becomes so successful? And it talked to me, fast forward, 2020 came around and then you became the face of it.
Yep.
And then there was a lot of backlash, which we'll get to. But how did you build this business behind the scenes where it became such a unique, and I would say, a household name in Kansas City?
Yeah. So I didn't do a good job in the beginning of putting my face out there. Right. People just knew Yogurtini. They knew the product. They knew probably my employees. A lot of times people didn't know I was the owner. Most of the time they didn't know I was the owner. And I would say that was probably by design in the beginning. I was younger. I was very nervous about people knowing that I own this business in this area that has a ton of money. Because I was getting comments when people would figure out that I was so young and it was a black face that owned it. And I wasn't really sure of myself at that point. So what we focused on more was making sure we had a really good product, making sure our store was super clean, make sure the ambiance matched what we were going for. No slow, somber music, no super crazy rage music, somewhere kind of in the middle. Pop-ish, hip-hop, rap, those are the kind of things that you'd hear because those are what I like. But it's also high tempo and whatnot. And so when you walked in, hopefully you felt it. You felt the sense of community. And hopefully we put a good product out where it tasted good and we created memories there for the person that you came with, because a large percentage of the people we come with don't come alone. It's a date, it's a group, it's people are meeting up, it's all those kinds of things. So I think that's why we kind of captured lightning in a bottle in a way. Because how I've run business, it was always about more than just the product or the service, but it was about the people.
That's right.
It was about the people and how they're feeling and really connecting to my faith. Like, how are we serving them and how are they being seen inside what we do?
So speaking of the people, because I know when people come to Yogurtini, they don't meet you for the most part. They meet people who work there. How do you make sure that there's this culture of service, this hire the right people? How do you know when to let someone go? Like, how do you get the right people in your team to be able to follow the vision?
I mean, it really depends. I have had over 600 employees in the last 12 and a half years at this point. One, it's transient business. Two, we tend to hire high school and college. That age range is still trying to figure it out, so they're not going to be lifers or Yogurtini. Our average team member will stay for about 15 months. And so it really is about making sure you serve them, even if you don't get that back in return. So my claim to fame is, I even tell my managers this, our main customer isn't our customer. Right. Our main customer is our employees, and our employees are then going to go serve our customers well. And that's how it should be, because I don't want myself working 90 hours behind the counter. Right. I also want my managers working 90 hours behind the counter. I want them working their 40 hours and then getting out so they can have a good work-life balance as well. So, you know, with that, making sure that our employees feel loved, seen, heard, and included. We try to loop in what some of their interests are as well, so they feel more connected to the mission.
Okay. I think that's so cool in the fact that you have 3 locations. Like, how do you even spread out across 3 locations? Because that's the biggest, is like, you can have one business, but once you make it like a franchise, you have to make sure that the culture is consistent in every single location.
Yep.
And that means you had to have a foundational base of what this is. Like, making sure that everyone feels good. Mm-hmm. Fast forward 2020, right? I know you got a lot of backlash when people actually found out it was you. Talk to me about what that was like. How did you deal with that? Being able to come into yourself as a person, like, hey, this is me, this is who I am.
Yeah. I'd say I'm still figuring that out. Yeah. 2020 was one of the best years of my life, and then it quickly turned into one of the worst. Well, I'll say it was one of the worst, turned into one of the best, and then it ended one of the worst. Started off the worst. Before the pandemic hit, I ruptured my Achilles. So I was laid up in bed a month before the pandemic even started. So when it hit, that was just kind of an extra low for me. But for the first 3 months, just like everyone else, I was trying to save my businesses. I didn't know if we were going to make it, because we're considered a buffet.
Yeah, it's an experience.
Yep. And so, you know, the experience of what Yogurtini is self-serve. That's why people come to us. They don't come because they want to be served. They want to do the serving. Right. And since we're a buffet, we couldn't have all the spoons out there, because you can't have 100 people touching the same spoon early in the pandemic time. So we had to serve them, and that messed up the whole thing. And our sales were dropped to 93%. And so I actually always give a shout out to AltCap, because AltCap gave us our first grant to help us stay afloat before we got any other money from federal. So shout out to AltCap for that. And then things started to get better because my brand blew up. I didn't change what I was doing before to after, but I became very vocal on racial injustice, what was going on, really helping answer a ton of questions on try to save my own business, but helping other people try to save theirs, giving advice, hopping on the phone, hopping on what I first used was Skype before I knew what Zoom was, and then quickly switching to Zoom.
Skype
came out of nowhere.
I forgot Skype was a thing.
Yeah, you're young, man. That was the thing.
I know Skype. I know Skype way back in the day. I might be young, but I've used Skype.
Yeah.
Well, Zoom is like a new thing. I used Skype in like 2009, 10, 11, 12. Like, I used Skype a lot before. It was the worst platform, but go ahead.
It was terrible. It's in comparison to Zoom now, or even Zoom back then, it was absolutely terrible.
The glitch is just like you say something, it gets there like a minute later, but go ahead.
Yep. So it got really good because my brand blew up. Not everyone, but a lot of more people than before knew who I was. It gave me a platform that I not necessarily was searching for all along, but I felt rewarded for the work that I had been doing in the community and speaking up on certain things. And then about as quick as it got good, it got bad, because people did start to realize that I was the owner of this business in these certain areas, in Liberty, in the heart of Kansas City, more about the areas. And then we did a location in Overland Park, which a lot of money there. Yeah. And the things I was speaking on, I thought were kind of common sense things of just like treating people well and loving each other.
Exactly.
Speaking up against racial injustice. And I got really attacked for those things. And it started triggering a lot of traumas from my past that I didn't know I hadn't dealt with. Right. So I kind of went to one of the darker places that I've been in on my journey. So
did you, before you got into being this person of like coming out as like yourself, what was that battle? And then seeing that what you feared actually happened. What did you, What was that? Talk me through that.
Yeah, I think for me, my battle has been in a realm of extremes. So like growing up in Kansas City, being born at Truman Medical Center, living over in the projects, Independence and Paseo, Riverview projects, grew up all black community.
Yeah.
Family, my friends were there, all the stuff. Changing and going and moving to St. Joe, where we landed there, was mostly all white community, which is fine. Where we moved to ended up being almost all white. The only other black kid there was my buddy Skylar, and the school we went to was 767 kids, and we're the only 2 black kids. And so it was tough to go from this extreme to more extreme, and then understand like who I was in that. There was a lot of identity that was being lost with every move that we made.
Right.
And then graduating, going up to Iowa, and not like Des Moines or Iowa City, like rural Iowa town of 3,000 people, there would be weeks where I wouldn't see anyone of color, black, brown, anything.
Oh, that mercy.
And so it was just interesting, you know, you go on these journeys and whatnot, and you have those thoughts of like, am I good enough? Who am I? Are people accepting me? Why are they saying these things to me? And then 2020 hits, and I'm a business owner and carry myself semi-professionally.
Yeah.
And some of those same feelings were coming up and same things were being said to me. Like, man, if I could just show you the DMs that I received during that time, it was just ridiculous. And like, I was 31 years old at that time.
Wow.
I wasn't even a kid at that point.
Wow. And then fast forward now, 2024. Pause and cut this part out. Fast forward now, 2024, and I still see the same, even more hate in the media right now. A lot of hate, especially with politics on the corner, right? I think it almost feels like you're being punished for being either a minority, or an immigrant, a black person, when you speak out for who you are as a person.
Yeah.
I feel like there's this expected, you should just go with the flow because everyone is doing that. But I don't think there's like, especially me, I'm put in a position where I feel like you got to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Because I think if something doesn't change, no one's going to do something about it, right? And my whole thing is, my mindset is around this whole, hate, division. I don't think there should be hate and division. Because if you look at I would say businesses, the communities we build around, it's built around unity, right? I think America is, the American dream is all about coming together. And if you are someone who came here with 0, you can make 100 out of a 0. And what that means is you can't do it alone because there's community around you. Yeah. And if we can continue building that storyline as opposed to saying, oh, you are, you're from India, from China, you are from Nigeria, so you should be separate. Yeah. I think there should be more unity in the messages so that people can be able to speak up for themselves. Yeah. Right. For you, talk to me about your mindset when it comes to the whole rhetoric, because I know the rhetoric right now is crazy. What is your perspective on what you think, especially you being a business owner?
Yeah, I think it's changed from 2020. Actually, 2020 and before, it was always about trying to fit in, trying to get people who don't necessarily understand me or like me to understand me and to like me. That's a lot of what I did, trying to explain concepts and things to people who, at the time, to the uninitiated, I didn't quite understand, like, oh, if they just understand this statistic or this thing, then I'll be able to change their mind. Right. And I think that was the hard part in 2020 is I couldn't change people's minds on something that was so obvious of like connection and love and hope, and this is just the right thing, and that thing is wrong. And so the way I've changed from then to now, one, to protect my mental health, but also just to be more effective, is stop trying to explain things to people and get them to like you when they're not even trying to like you. At this point, there's been enough narratives in the media, and people know what they support and they like and all that kind of stuff. So I found that I can be more impactful if I double down on the people who are willing to have a conversation versus the ones who are over here and don't understand or don't get it or aren't trying to get it. And honestly, over here, the ones like the impact is the people who maybe are a few steps behind where I am in my journey of growing their business to have an impact, also understanding their identity. Like someone who's struggled with identity issues, helping someone else get through their identity issues is incredibly impactful because then it leaves a ripple effect for their whole lineage. Same thing with helping other business owners. I've been blessed to have success. So any of us who have had business success, we should reach back and help someone and grab them and pull them up through mentoring and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Because a successful business can literally transform a whole lineage. You know, we talk about generational wealth and all those kinds of things. It starts with the mental and the spiritual first, and then goes to the physical and the financial. That's an amazing thing, you know? So like, why spend my time trying to convince people and my confidence continues to get knocked down and I keep getting triggered from these traumas versus being over here, people I know like me, love me, respect me, or are at least willing to listen and have the conversation on those things.
No, I mean, and I want to come back to, which is probably towards the end of the show, is the things you're doing right now to give back, the resources you're attaching yourself to, opening more doors for people. I think that's really incredible, because I don't think people understand having a franchise. To me, is one of the most amazing things. Like 1, 2, 3 businesses that cohesively sell a product that is unique, right?
Yep.
It's something that people should like learn. I wish I had the skills to do that, but I would think people should be able to like look that way. Right?
Yeah.
But I think one thing I want to touch base on when it comes to, you know, the narrative in the media, politics, religion, is like, I think we're in a state in our community where there's no more conversations. There's either you're on this side, there's hate and there is fear. We can't sit and say, this is wrong, but why is it wrong?
Yeah.
What are the facts behind it? I have a platform called Ulom, which essentially bringing all immigrants together and say, hey, there are resources you need from zero. When you get here, you need those things. And if we don't help you get those things, you're not going to be able to impact the economy the positive way. And I think that's just common sense.
Yep.
You know, if you're already here as an immigrant, you want to help the economy grow. But if you don't get a tool to help the economy grow, you're not going to do that, right? I think where we are today, I think the question should be, why do I not like you? And like, what is it that makes me have this prejudice against you?
Yeah.
And can we get over that? Is there a common ground?
Well, first, congratulations. I don't know if I've had a chance outside of like, which I think are important, you know, social media likes and just saying congratulations. I think it's important to say it in person. So I love what you're doing. I've been hyping you up from afar, so it makes sense just to hype you up to your face.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
So absolutely, I love what you're doing. Interesting time that you asked that, because actually yesterday, my pastor preached on something similar to this, and he was talking about, you know, do you want to be right or do you want to make a difference? And didn't quite understand what he meant. And then he went into, he was being funny, but he's like, you know, if you're trying to be right, you and your 4 Facebook friends are shouting from the mountaintop about whatever point that you're trying to make. Like, you may be right, but you're shutting conversations off from anyone else that's around you. Versus making a difference. You know, he was talking about how Jesus, a lot of his miracles and the bonds that he made was over a meal.
Right.
And so, you know, break bread with people, get to know people and their struggles. Right. You may sit down at that table trying to change someone else's mind, but you may also get your mind changed. You also may make a friend with someone that you thought you'd absolutely didn't like. And so I think that's the first thing, is understanding the struggles of others. The amount of times during 2020 where someone was trying to tear me down and I would tell them my actual experiences in life, and they would disregard it to say, well, here's the stats and here's this and here's that. And I'm like, no. I've lived this thing that you said never happens. I went through that, and I have several friends who also went through that. Like, let's talk about it. I had an ex-friend I went to middle school and high school with who kept talking about how, you know, having conversations about what we were protesting about and those kinds of things in Kansas City, you know, didn't matter. And here's what's actually happening. And I said, please, I'll pay for your gas. Come down to Kansas City and stand with me. Let's have a conversation, but come with me and talk to people and kind of see what's actually happening with people's stories.
Exactly.
And so I tried to bridge that gap to make a difference in one person's life, and then maybe it would reverberate out when he went back, you know, the people who he hung out with, and he wouldn't come down.
I think when it comes to religion, I think religion has its place, right? I believe everyone has the choice to believe in whatever they need to believe in. But I also do not agree with the fact that religion has to choose what you vote or how you vote. I think religious institutions should be a place of, you know, peace, or a place of you can go and find refuge.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a place
100%.
where you go and fight. It should be a place, I'm going through a lot. I just want to go and be in a place. But I think the messages, especially from, you know, pastors or leaders, I think you already put in a pedestal where you are supposed to be this person I can come to and confirm to. But if I hear you saying something that I think, for me personally, especially, I'm a black man, I'm an immigrant, and I know that a lot of people don't like those two things.
Yeah.
And if I hear anything that makes me feel like you do not accept those things, it's not going to be for me. And I don't think a church has a place to say that. And I'm going to say it out loud. I don't think churches have a place to be able to determine where you vote or who you vote for, what you vote for. I think it should be a place of saying we all have differences, but let's come together.
Yep.
Because this is what it's about. It's about unity, right?
Yeah.
Now, change the topics a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to go to, we talked about resources, because for you right now, it's more giving back. What are some resources that you've been, you know, kind of highlighting lately for entrepreneurs, especially trying to build a business that can be able to help them?
Sure. So I have my own coaching and consulting business where I help business owners, but I think that is something so rare when I actually start to have a conversation about someone hiring me to help them with their business. First thing that I do is I put them through all the free resources here in Kansas City, from Porterhouse to KC Gift to SBDC and everything they have going on with Scale Up and Growth 360 and Prospect Business Association. There's so many that are out there that can help people. And the thing is, not everyone knows that those things are there. So my thing is to say, I have a platform, people follow me, here's what's going on. And I think, two, it is highlighting people who are doing great things here in Kansas City and showcasing the difference that they're making, because I think that also changes the narrative. This is something Chris Good said back in 2020. He said action over outrage. And I've never actually told him that, so I'm going to. He's going to see it on here, hopefully. But like, that changed how I commented on social media as well, of like really making sure that we're doing the work.
Right.
And so me highlighting someone who's doing the work, I've been to several galas in the last 60 days. And like, real lives are being changed, from Elena Paige Thomas and her gala that she did recently at the Next Page Foundation, to Brandon over at KC Gift and his whole team, and the money that they're raising and the lives that they're changing is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of my two things. And then it's showing how to build business and how to do the thing through how I'm building my business is my third piece. And then the fourth piece is, there's a lot of great nonprofits that aren't ESOs, entrepreneur supporting organizations, that are still doing amazing work with helping in the lives of kids and those kinds of things. I'm on the board of Big Brothers Big Sisters. I think we do great work. I support literacy nonprofits, from Dreams KC, what Katina's doing, to Lead to Read, they're a partner, to Literacy KC. So that's kind of like my 4 pillars of what it takes to go forward. But again, it all comes down to doing things to pull people ahead.
So let me ask you this. Let me give you a scenario. For example, someone comes in KC, they say, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to start a business. What are some 5 key places you plug them to start at to get the ball rolling?
I think the first thing is they need to figure out what they even need, what they want to do. So I said, you know, your sponsor, KC Sports Link, is amazing, because, you know, they have the whole pipeline that's there. So they're a great place to go to say, hey, here's where I am in my business. I don't have a business yet. They have the ESOs and nonprofits that can help with kind of helping you with that. I always think that SBDC is great, whether you're on the Missouri side or the Kansas side. There's 2 of them, and sometimes they work together in tandem. They have a lot of free resources, but they also have great connections to local chambers. So I think that's great.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for Porterhouse and Gift.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you are a Black entrepreneur for Gift and you're on the east side, Gift is great for you. I think shooting your shot and DMing local Kansas City business owners that inspire you to get coffee, I think is the 4th thing. It's really important, so you can learn right there and like learn from their failures to shorten your learning gap is one thing.
And also, even to add to that, because most of the leaders who are business owners also are people on decision and boards that are going to be on the back end of things that you're going to need. So if you connect with them early, when it gets to that point, you something they already know you because they know your story, your journey. So
yeah. And the fifth thing, it kind of goes with the fourth one, is just like, just meet people. Right. Show up to happy hours, networking events, and all that kind of stuff. Because it really is not what you know, it's who you know, especially in a city that's as small as this. I mean, people will put you on, and don't show up and be salesy. Show up to learn, show up to add value, and someone in the community is going to hook you up in one way or another. Right. I mean, how many connections have we got just by being of service to the community? Right. And it's like, oh, hey, this person, you should meet this person. Right. And it transforms everything that you're doing. So
yeah, no, that's key. It's like, I think this was back in college. This was one of the things I learned in college. The two things I learned in college, one of them is I got an extension cord. That's one. That I use for my lights. That's it here, not there. And then this is the other thing I learned is have mutually beneficial conversations in relationships where you are adding value, even though you're getting value, but also add value because there's always something you can give, right? And I want to give a quick shout out to GW is coming up. GW Week, Global Entrepreneurship Week by Casey Sorsling. If you're an entrepreneur, you want to get connected, go to GW Week. I think it starts on the 18th of November. So plug in there. There's going to be a lot of presentations. There's going to be the RCAP, your business pitch. I think there's going to be a lot of resources for you to connect to. So if you want to go to the one place shop, GW is the place. And I'm going to be there too. I have a happy hour on the 18th.
Let's go.
At Society KC. So pull up and let's have some talk. So tell me this. What's the future? Where you want to take Yogurtini? What's the plan for the next, say, 5 years? What's the move?
You know, I was listening to this podcast one time, and the guy was talking about owning the donut, not the donut hole. And what he meant by that is when he goes into a city, his business works really well in the suburbs. He doesn't want to be in the heart of the city. He wants to be on the outskirts. And for us, based off the data and the numbers, it shows that our business actually works better in the suburbs as well. Unfortunately, you know me, I'm from this city. I literally lived 2.5 miles from here growing up. That's not a thing for me. Right. So we do want to officially own the donut, but we will always have a donut hole right in the middle. And right now, this plaza location is that. We serve about a 7-mile radius around, which takes us to most of greater Kansas City. So this is always our hub. This is where we do a lot of our community building out of. This is where we do a lot of our events out of. We do a lot of our fundraisers, our big partnerships with nonprofits like Lead to Read and Literacy KC out of here. But we're working on owning the donut now. So that means we got to do more locations being in other parts of the city.
Yeah, and I would think also with this location, it's more marketing for you. Because I think sometimes when you look at marketing, you don't get the satisfaction when you put the money into it. It's more of a longevity. Yeah. Because you are that household name because you have one in the plaza.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. This is the location people think about when they think of Yogurtini. This is always what they say. It's almost never Shoal Creek. It's never Overland Park. It's the one by UMKC, the one on the plaza. I saw this when I went to the World War I Museum. I saw this when I went to the Nelson because we do all those partnerships. Yeah. So this is the hub. If it wasn't for this location, I think the brand of Yogurtini would be looked at differently because of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just, like I said, you viewed consistency in quality and consistency in filling people's expectations. I think that's the biggest thing for why most companies succeed and others do not. Is when I come to Yogurtini, I expect a level of perfection. How do you keep that up, being that you are this, I would say, a small business that has a franchise? How do you keep that consistency all across the board?
Hire good people is the biggest thing. Hire good people who have high standards. You can train that only to a certain extent, but that has to also be within them to be able to do. Like my manager here, Amy, she is top notch on what she wants to do as far as the experience for the customer, how happy her employees are. And like we said before, happy employees will serve the customer as well. But also the store is incredibly clean. It's fun. People like coming here. And the other thing on that is we know that we mess up. So if you look at our reviews, my wife and I, we reply to every single one. And every single review that isn't a 5-star, I will screenshot it, I'll send it to my team, and we'll talk about it. Not only is one location, but it's an entire Yogurtini KC. So that's 8 managers or 6 managers that are in the conversation saying, how can we make this better? Not only that location, but also my location, to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And, you know, again, from sports, I get this of like never ending improvement, 1% better every single day. And so like when I bought this store in 2015, I didn't run it well. I was learning. I mean, to the uninitiated eye, it seemed like it was good, but like 2015-16 Yogurtini versus 2024, I mean, we just do this in our sleep now. We know how to have a good experience. And if we're still failing people, which we are, we don't have a perfect rating across the board. We're at 4.5 stars. We're not at 5.0.
4.5 stars. That's really great.
With 200 plus ratings, I'll take it.
See, I'll say this. If I go on Amazon and I see 20 ratings for 5-star and I see 4.5 for 150, I'm buying 4.5 star for 50. That means there's 20 people that said, this is good, this might not be good, but they have 4.5.
I would rather my customer tell me what's wrong. I'm never mad at them. That shows that the customer cares about what we're doing here, and the experience they thought they were going to get fell below average.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's right.
So we can fix that. Right. They care enough to do that. You know, for all our 3 locations, we have 600 plus reviews. 600 people decided they're going to go out of their way to tell us, hey, you screwed up, or hey, you did really good.
Yeah.
Or 4 stars, like you did a really good job, but your bathroom was dirty.
Right.
Like, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, now I got to go fix that.
Yeah, like we'll talk to our team and make sure that that gets better.
Yeah, no, I say it cuts deeper if someone cares about you, because they care. So once you do them wrong, it even cuts deeper because of the care that they have for that favor. But again, thank you so much, Isaac, for having us in your space, for giving us some good Yogurtini. I got some gummy bears that I got to finish up. But I'm going to see you guys over on the other side.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We did the thing.
We did it.
Okay. Now, Isaac, I want to ask you this. There are some new things you have going on. You got 3 locations.
I got some stuff going on.
Got a 4th one probably coming here soon. You got a whole new business you're trying to start as well. Talk to me about all that.
Yeah, so it's been a fun few years. Getting into the Yogurtini business. Well, my first business was Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory back in 2012. Did that for 4 years. The 3rd year coming back to Kansas City. And then we sold Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory in 2016. So I had a year of owning them both.
Wow.
Since then, it's always been 2 or 3 years, and we do a new location. And our last location was summer of 2020. That is more than 4 years ago. I'm itching. I'm ready for something else. And
ready for the 4th screen.
Man, I feel like we've kind of been like hitting our head against the wall, trying to do more. And I really feel like God was just saying, not yet, preparing you for something else, or something else. You got to learn a lesson. You have to learn a certain skill to be able to do that. And I think he was protecting me from myself, really. I think I had to learn a lot, been in a lot of therapy. If you've seen, probably in our last interview, I'm losing weight again. I've lost a lot of weight and feeling good. Marriage is better. We got 2 kids. They're happy and healthy. My parents moved down, so they're close to us. So I think all those things needed to happen to shore up the foundation, and we're ready.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, though, and I think this is very important. How do you find locations? How do you get to choose, this is where I want to be at? Do you research? What are the steps you take into acquiring a place and then starting a business in that location?
I mean, this is overused, and it's for a reason, is location. I mean, for me to have a brick and mortar storefront, it has to be a great location.
That's right.
Not only walkability or drivability, it has to be seen by Main Street.
Right.
So, there has been other frozen yogurt stores that are almost on a busy street, but it is in a shopping area where you can't see it from the Main Street. That is a huge disservice, especially if you have a road that sees 20,000 cars going. That's 20,000 opportunities that you are now missing. So I think that's incredibly important there. The rent is a huge one. The rent will make or break a deal when it comes to that.
Right.
If your rent's too high, sometimes it doesn't matter how much you sell, because the rent will absolutely just cripple you when it comes to your brick and mortar location.
Right.
And I think you have to know your ideal client. Are you going in an area where they're actually at? For instance, our Plaza location does well, but it's our worst location out of the 3. And everyone would think it's our best because it's, you know, it's in the city. There's a lot of people, but our main demographic is young families with kids, and we have to have discretionary income. And so Shoal Creek, that area has a little more money, and pretty much everyone in that area is family. Family, 2.5 children.
Wow.
And then when we did Overland Park, it is the same, but it's denser, and it has the same makeup of just a lot of families. So those 2 locations really thrive.
Wow.
But you have to know your ideal client and where they are. Are they close to where you're trying to go?
Yeah.
If not, you can beat it with an extremely good location. But if the location isn't A+, and the demographic of who you're going for is not an A+, it's not going to be an A+ location. I mean, the math. The math just has to math.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I would think, you know, the Plaza would be the main location, but now I understand because I know most times when I go to Yogurtini, I'm going with my friends, and it's still always, because it's always like, it's hot outside, I'm like, I need some Yogurtini, let's go and have some time. But like, when you talk about families, kids always want to go. Every Friday, I got to go to Yogurtini because my mom takes me there. It becomes a family culture thing that happens every week, right? So that makes more sense in terms of the location. So I want to ask this might be the last question, because I know for me, people have been saying this, but being an entrepreneur had made me understand it better, is fake it till you make it. We don't know what we're doing. We're just doing it until we figure it out. That just being the truth of it. It's like, most times you just got to start and then you got to figure it out. And I think that has been my principle of like, but the key into it is not just doing it because you don't know, but it's understand your mistakes. Where have you failed in the past? How can you improve that to do the next thing? It doesn't have to be this huge change. It has to just be intentional steps in the right direction. If you can learn from someone else who's made a mistake, it will be better for you, which is why I have the show. I have entrepreneurs on here who are doing amazing things, and I hear from their stories because that energizes me, inspires me to say, okay, I'm not the only one in this. There's other people who are crazy as me, who are driven as me, but they still wake up every day, put on their shirts, and go and try it again, right? What have been some principles that have guided you, you know, through this path of having 9 businesses? I don't know how many nonprofits you're on your board. What are some things that you have been on your backbone?
The biggest thing is, so I do wholeheartedly believe in fake it till you make it. I really do. People want to shoot that down and say this or that. I mean, it would be really nice if experience and competence could come before confidence in that regard. But a lot of times that's just not how it is, especially if you are under-resourced, especially if your family doesn't come from money. You don't have the luxury to wait. You know, you don't. So sometimes you have to shoot your shot and see what happens and go with that fake confidence, or use your YouTube hype videos, the David Goggins, if you will, to keep yourself hyped up to continue going. What I will say with that is what works best is being in an environment where there's learning. Because if you're just faking it and you're going and all that kind of stuff and you're staying the same, that's not going to cut it. You're going to end up by yourself, lonely, and probably failing. If you can fake it till you make it with the intention of putting yourself around people who are doing the damn thing, or grinding the same as you, or just better than you, you'll get there. Ask the questions. Be okay to look dumb. You know, be okay that the content's sloppy, the product isn't great yet, all those kinds of things. So if you combine those two together, I think that's the recipe for success. Like, you can learn and be in a community, and I think being in a uplifting, positive community covers a lot of sins.
No. I think that community is the biggest piece. Shout out to Keystone, because that's a community that every entrepreneur needs to be in, because you see people who are hustling as much as you, who are driven as much as you, but also you have this community of people who want to learn, who can teach you, because in every single day you have someone who works in who probably has had 2 businesses that can tell you something that helps you get further down. So that community is huge. I think. And
GEW too is huge. I mean,
GEW,
come with your business cards. You're going to meet so many people at GEW KC. It's going to be ridiculous. Pop into a session, you know, get what you need, get gone, in between, meet some people, talk it up, and people are just so nice during that week.
It is.
It's so amazing.
It's like they're so like have more like, hey, I've been emailing you for like 10,000 years, but you're here. You want to grab coffee with me? Let's do it. Because they know that's what they were there for. Because if you made an effort to come out, meet them, they're like, okay, you are investing your time into what you really want to do. So this is the best place to see entrepreneurs who you want to meet. GW.
Yeah, everyone's open. It's I love it. I'm not even doing a session. I'm not doing an actual session. I'm leading the All Cap Your Biz pitch competition. We did a workshop with them. We're doing coaching sessions, and the culmination is the actual pitch competition on that Friday. Super excited about it. But besides that, I decided this year that I'm not going to do a session. I'm just going to be a part of it. I'm going to pop in, add 2 cents here, that kind of stuff. Doing a lot of behind the scenes helping of the ESOs instead of being, you know, speaking and doing the session myself.
Do you think, or are you doing any investing when it comes to investing in some ideas or some business in the future that you want to be able to back and say, hey, this or some things that I think we're going to go for? Are you going to do any of that, or you kind of do any of that?
Yeah, so for us, to answer your earlier question, we are expanding Yogurtini. So we have 3 locations. I'm saying 3.5.
Okay,
because
it's almost there.
We are, by the time this releases, we would have signed our 4th lease to open our new location.
Yes.
So really excited about that.
Yes.
We're working on number 5 and 6. Number 5 should happen. So number 4 will happen spring 2024. Number 5 should happen late summer, early fall 2025. And number 6 will happen spring 2026.
Wow.
So there's other possibilities out there, but we'll kind of see.
Shoot.
You alluded to it. I'm getting into a new concept as well, which I'm not going to announce yet until the deal is inked. Yeah, but we'll do some splicing, and we'll kind of talk about that when it comes. And the third pillar for us is investing in other companies. I am very specific on what we do. It needs to be something where I can add a lot of value to it with kind of our marketing machine behind the scenes. And then our goal is to partner, I have 2 things. I'll either buy the entire business if the owner wants out and it's something that I do, like we're in the process of buying a competitor. I already know what I'm doing. We'll take that. But if it's something that I don't do every single day and it has a good operator, instead of buying the entire thing, we'll just invest. Okay, I'll do what I do with the infrastructure, the marketing, the sales, all that kind of stuff. And then the operator can just continue operating at the best way. So that's what we're excited to do more of.
No, I mean, again, congrats. 9 years now?
9 years in Yogurtini, 12.5 total.
Total, wow.
Yeah, July 4th of next year will be 13 years. That's my Independence Day, I like to say.
You've been doing this for a minute.
Man, I'm old.
And it's showing that you've been doing it for a minute because you've been having success.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Isaac, for coming on the show. Thank you for all you do. And I think this conversation for me is very important, especially here in the times that we're in right now. I think looking at your success, your journey, going to the 4th location, I think that speaks volumes of what can happen if there are resources around an entrepreneur. If there is someone who has a dream and you have people who can be able to back it, and also have a community behind it, because I think most of what you said, Yogurtini is a community-based business, is that people have to show up and be there, right? If there's no community who support it, it doesn't work. So you are a great example of that.
Yeah, 100%, man. I really appreciate it. I think you nailed it. Like, there just has to be the community piece. This thing is so lonely. This thing is so hard.
Yeah.
So to have resources that you can learn from, a community that you can plug into. I mean, doing this podcast here in Keystone, one of the best communities in the city, one of the best resources and Fired Up Studios and everything that you guys put out. I think you're nailing it. I think you are a good representation of that. I know your family's proud. You know, being an immigrant, coming here and doing the damn thing is wild. And then knowing you as long as I've known you, and to see the trajectory has been crazy, man. I mean,
thank you.
All the cards have been stacked against you, and for you to be where you are now from where you came from is crazy.
I appreciate
That's
that.
Wild.
That really means a lot to me, because like I said, you're one of the people that inspire me. There are people who I call my friends and also my mentors, because I look up to them and say they're doing this so that one day I'll be inspired to do the same.
Yeah.
So like hearing that from you is reassurance, like, okay, we got something going on. You know?
Yeah. Well earned, man. Well earned.
Thank you for always taking my text and, grabbing lunch or coffee. That means a lot to me.
Yeah.
You know? So when I tell my friends, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yogurtini. They're like, what?
All right, man. You're going to make me blush.
Yogurtini. I'm like, yeah, shoot, we go way back. Thank you again, Isaac, for coming on the show. For those who are watching from home, you know what time it is. Subscribe, share, let people know we're out here at Fired Up Studios, Studio Entrepreneur. You know what we're doing? It's your boy Zeke Wonganga, and I'm going to see you in the next episode. Bye-bye for now.